Welcome to the Crimeycade. I'm the Mad Conservative Crime Fighter, back on the podcast, and oh my goodness, yeah, I had to rant a little bit, and so I decided doing the pre-show when it was not going to interfere with the main podcast. So I think, I would have ranted a lot longer if I had more time, I guess. I mean, there's so much to meander about, reflect on, because there's been so much I've had to put up with, I've witnessed over the past so many months. It's just surreal what has been going on the last year or two. Well, my guest on the podcast, and I gotta have to bring him in straight up because he only has an hour, and he only has an hour because he's going to be on another podcast in an hour, or an hour and a half. But to introduce this gentleman, he is one of Galaxies Arcade's newer employees. He's also is a graphic artist and was formerly a game tester at Atari Games. So let's bring him in. Matt Fowler. Matthew Fowler.
How's it going, Steven? Thanks for having me.
So, you have quite a history that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
In fact, after I watched that video documentary you sent me, you look nothing like the person in the video, and it was only 5 years ago.
Yeah. Publishing takes it out of you, age like a president in that game, man.
All right, so we only got about an hour with you before you have to do another podcast. So let's start with that.
I got a podcast after this reviewing this graphic novel, Ghost of the Badlands.
Ghost of the Badlands. So what is that about?
It's like a manga style Western. Very realistic. Nothing sensational happens in it. Very grounded in reality. Along the lines of something like Hell on Wheels. I don't know if you remember that TV show from a few years ago. Or
Hell on Wheels.
Or it's about the railroad.
Not familiar with it.
How about Deadwood? Not a Western fan.
I'm not much of a, I guess, pop culture guy. I mean, sure, I remember who John Wayne was.
All right.
But
I'd say this is more Clint Eastwood than John Wayne, for sure.
That's the website, correct?
Yeah.
Retro Graphics Books, that's your website.
That's my website, for sure, yeah.
I'm not going to put that on the screen. 1 second.
And that's where my video game history projects are and the work I do with the Konami box artist, Tom Dubois, and that are all available over there on Retro Graphic Book.
There it is. Right there.
Yeah. Video game and pop culture artwork, the definitive Tom Dubois collection. Yeah, he did all the Konami box art from like 1988 to 94. So all the stuff we remember, Ninja Turtles, Contra, all that stuff.
Now, how did you hook?
I was going to say, he's from here in town, in Chicago, lives in Blue Island, went to the Art Institute. And, that whole documentary there kind of explains his origin. But, yeah, he had worked for Art House in the city, and Konami hired the art house, not him personally. So for like 30 years, they never knew who did all their artwork for all their famous games, and if it was one guy or just a whole art studio or whatever. And we solved that mystery, in that documentary from 2018, and got him working again, he does stuff for limited run games and Konami again and stuff like that.
Does he have a trading card?
A trading card?
Yes, a Walter Day trading card. Because if he doesn't, he needs to be hooked up with one.
Right. No, I don't think he does.
Yeah, get on the horn with Todd Freeman, because I think he can get him hooked up straight away. As that is basically they're looking for. That's the candidates they're looking for. Is basically significant figures in the gaming world,
Oh,
and that
nice,
would be
nice.
someone who is a significant figure.
Yeah, and
Oh,
as you
looks
can
like
see
I
from
lost
the
a subscriber because of my earlier rant. Oh
oh,
boy. Oh well.
I didn't tune in for that. I was late.
I mean, I gave warning. It was not. It was like off topic. So if you're offended, go somewhere else until 8 o'clock. I mean, you were warned.
Right.
Period. Anyway,
So yeah, as you see, there's a lot of the artwork without any of the trade dress or logos and stuff on it. Its original form. Some of the original sketches and stuff. I was able to get all that scanned in and taken out of boxes in his basement and cataloged. So we've been doing a lot of work on the project for the past 4 or 5 years.
all right. So let's get into this. Your history as a gamer. Now, most recently, you're the one of the newest members of the Galvin Ghost staff,
Right.
arcade staff. How did you get hooked up with that?
All right. So there's a couple other employees there, the Diaz brothers. They're also comic book writers. One's an artist, one's a writer, and they do some self-publishing too. So I've been pretty close friends with them, doing conventions together and selling our comic books and stuff. And then when the need arose for me to get an apartment up here and move and get a job, they hooked me up and introduced me to Doc, who I had met a couple times before, like at Midwest Gaming Classic, when they were showcasing different games up there for the convention and stuff. And got to meet everyone and come down and apply for a position.
And you got the job.
Yeah. It's kind of a dream job, being able to fire up all the cabinets in the morning or, shut everything down at night. You really get to know the ins and outs of everything there. And it's one of the coolest places on earth,
Now, there was a little bit. I happened to be around when all the games were shut off.
Mm-hmm.
At closing time, I just hung around the chat with whoever was on and just stick around until all the games were off and then take photos of the arcade with all the games off. And it's a totally different vibe.
Yeah, you can really start to appreciate the side art and the bezel artwork more because there's just so much. There's a lot less stimulation going on, without all the buzz and whirs of all the different sounds and monitors flicking and everything just humming and on. And yeah, you can really take it in more once it's all turned off at night.
Well, it could also be some subliminal spaces. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah, liminal spaces or whatever, right? Yeah. Like because it's so like labyrinth-like and long, and with the monitors all off, it does create that eerie feeling of a liminal space, or like you're being watched, or it's somewhat haunted, or whatever. But it's not. I don't feel like it's actual supernatural stuff, but just what happens from being in that type of labyrinth,
I mean, it's not a sight that most people see, unless because most people, they go into the arcade, they're there for a few hours. Unlike me, that's there from like almost open to close.
Right.
Because it's an all-day pass and I get my money's worth. Yeah. So yeah, and now of course the achievement books now has an entry for last one to leave.
Oh yeah, then you get to see some of the stuff turned off. Then I'm sure it has the first one of the day too.
Yes.
Some of the achievements.
Although also I'd like to have seen. Oh gosh, Like a cemetery? I don't know if I'd go that far. Large bedroom. Well, it's not bed. There's nowhere to lay down. There's not a comfortable place to lay down. There's no couches. I mean, it's been proposed that Come and Ghost should have an Airbnb for that apartment upstairs once the current tenant, let's say, ever moves out.
Right.
But then they're also going to use that as part of the second floor whenever they do a second floor, if they ever do a second floor.
Who knows what the plan is?
I don't know. So you got so you're a part of the Galbago staff. Was it everything you thought it was, or did you get a different impression as time went along on the job?
It's very different than I thought it was, because initially I had collected arcade cabinets myself somewhat, from like 2010 ish to 2018. I had about 8 cabinets, and my favorite games, and a Crazy Taxi upright, and Final Fight cab, and a couple Japanese versus City cabinets and stuff. And it had gotten to the point where working on all that stuff was cost prohibitive, right? So it was just not a realistic hobby to have, just because the market had increased the value of the game, so you couldn't just grab them anymore. So it wasn't as appealing. My monitors kept going out on my head-to-head Street Fighter cabinet, so I kind of just got rid of all my arcade stuff and kept like maybe my 10 favorite boards and a super gun or whatever. So I was kind of out of the arcade thing, but I had learned, how to work with the HAP switches and Sanwa controllers and, JAMA harnesses and HAP power supplies and all the, stuff that goes basically into an arcade cabinet anyway. So I had an over maybe confidence of familiarity with the internal workings of arcade stuff when I started. And I thought like, oh, most of these games are JAMA. It's going to be, and the reality is every game is unique in some way, the way it's wired, or if there's a 2-in-1 setup for it, or, whatever customization is to it. There's so much more than I ever thought I could. There's stuff that I don't know. It's an infinite sea where I thought like, oh, I'm going into this with a pretty solid grasp of things, and then you realize like, oh no, this is just some other next level stuff.
So give me an example of one of these next level things that you encountered that really modified your perception.
I'd say the amount of uniqueness between monitors. Like there's so many different monitor types, and a monitor will get fixed of one issue and then go down a few days of a separate issue. And it's like so many different resolutions and, parts to the chassis and the flyback wheel. And these pieces can be replaced with these pieces. And there's multiple manufacturers, it's like, I knew about
white, vector, and
I didn't even get into the vector graphics stuff. There's a whole row of these ones that, the vector graphics are something else. And then, the cabinets that kill monitors, like the Empire Strikes Back one that was notoriously burning out monitors for a while. And it's like, just there's so much to it,
That game is down, by the way.
No, it is. Yeah, they've been trying to fix it forever, but supposedly it's supposed to be fixed, but there's just so many variables to all of it.
They may have to switch to a stand-up cabinet instead of the cockpit, but I don't know. It'd be hard for them to let it go, but so all these cabinets you used to test them too.
In the 90s, I grew up in Northern California, in a city called Milpitas, and Atari Games is there. And I guess over the years, Atari Games has been purchased a few times. So it was Tengen for a while. I don't remember Tengen from the old Nintendo days. They made the black cartridges.
Yeah, it started as Atari, and then Atari Incorporated, then Warner,
Time Warner
I guess,
Interactive.
spun it off into Atari Corporation when Jack Trammell bought it. Then Midway bought it, and then it became Atari Games, or the arcade division became Atari Games, and then there's Atari Corp.
Right.
Then Atari Games just basically took the Midway branding at some point. But you were in the 90s testing Atari Games unreleased games. Correct?
1995 to 96. The building was called Time Warner Interactive at the time. And it was right around the release of the first PlayStation. We had little testing desks where we kept all our consoles, and we would get assigned whatever burned disc that day was the latest build we were testing, and we'd play it through a VCR and kind of just record everything. And if any bugs happened, we would pop the tape out, fill out a bug report, and then be asked to recreate that symptom or whatever, and throw in another tape and get back to it. And I worked there for a few months, and then switched over to the coin op side. And I kind of got tricked into that because this guy asked me if I wanted to trade games and go over to coin op, and he was going to play the game I was playing, which was Return Fire for the PlayStation 1. It's like a military simulator, kind of capture the flag game or whatever. Anyway, he was testing this game called Hoop It Up. And I thought, oh, Hoop It Up, it must be like an NBA Jam kind of thing, right? But no, Hoop It Up is like a vending game, like that disperses tickets. It's has two rubber basketballs that you hit like that, and it launches a ping pong ball like through hoops, right? So I ended up having to play this stupid basketball game for 40 hours that week, and work the scheduled hours for Hoop It Up. And that was long enough to be down there in coin op side of things for a week. And, on our breaks in between, we were playing other fighting games down there, and they let me stay and put me on a different game the next week. And I just stayed down at coin op.
I just got some long-winded message from, I'm going to find out what this is all about, from one JP Pitts, who's going to be on. Oh, Todd Pippin, what are you talking about? Anyway. Todd Pippin sent me something. I was like, what the hell is this?
Okay.
I'll have to find out what the deal is later. Love Return Fire. There we go. So the prototype games you tested, which ones of them ended up on the Galloping Ghost arcade floor?
Yeah, that was another crazy thing. So when I started at Galloping Ghost, I found out a lot of their rarest games happened to be from 1995, 96 Time Warner Interactive games. And they were rare and never seen before, I guess. And it's like, oh, I worked on a lot of these, Vicious
Or only
Circle.
seen by you.
Well, and everyone who worked there. Vicious Circle, Freeze, which is like a puzzle game. Vicious Circle is like a Killer Instinct kind of clone fighting game.
Yeah.
The Beavis and Butthead game. Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey. I did some testing on Area 51, and I got to see Primal Rage 2 when it was in development, and had told people about it for a long time, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And then once it was revealed that it was a real thing, it's like, yeah, man, see, I told you about that.
And so back then, you were testing these games. Mm-hmm. The games that didn't get released, do you have any sort of knowledge of why the developer just kind of got cold on putting these out?
The home market was taking off. in a way it had never done before. PlayStation was very popular, and the power that the Sony was able to put in consumers' hands at home kind of made the arcade a little less exciting, right? So numbers started to dip, and I think didn't Time Warner get bought up at that point too, and Midway took over or something and kind of wanted to focus more on their brands than the brands they bought.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Midway just kind of took over, just everything. The Midway brand just kind of took precedence. And so, certain games that used to be put out by Atari Games now had the Midway branding on it.
Mm-hmm.
At some point. Now, Vicious Circle. So let's go through something. Vicious Circle.
I got a story about Vicious Circle.
Yeah, because it's an incomplete game. You're kind of fighting through a bunch of enemies to basically supposedly free some girl that's trapped in a crystal, and then the girl in the crystal actually is the most evil, diabolical force that you have to battle at the end or something. Or at least that's how the storyline seems to go.
Right.
But go ahead.
What did I say? Oh, yeah, we were playing Vicious Circle a lot, and they had told all the testers, like, yeah, we're having a location test at Mission Lanes in Milpitas this weekend, and like, whatever you guys do, don't go play Vicious Circle, right? So, of course, we all went, and we're playing Vicious Circle all weekend, and at the time, the game was using like a chain link combo system similar to Darkstalkers at the time. Like short, fierce roundhouse all link into each other or whatever, right? But you could link it back around and just keep like infinite loops going. And we were at the test site just doing infinites on people. It was pretty fun.
Apparently, there's another game called Vicious Circle, and it's been released on Steam, but it's like an upcoming gritty sci-fi multiplayer first-person shooter. Yeah, obviously it's not. It was like released 5 years ago, but this was not it's not the one you were talking about. It's Vicious Circle, Vicious Circle, the arcade game.
Right. So one of my fellow testers, his name was Rich. He had a band, like a metal band, and their name was Vicious Circle. And the developers had seen the flyers around the office and like just jacked the name from them. Eventually, I think his drummer like sued them, and then they settled or whatever. But yeah, Rich's band used to be called Vicious Circle. That's where they got the name from. And yeah, that's it. Oh my god, it's so awful. That game was just bad, so stiff, and kind of reminded me of more Rise of the Robots than Killer Instinct. It was just
it was playable. This was pretty playable to me. At least the character I used, which was Edge. But basically, it didn't have a branding, didn't have the name of the maker on this. They just said insert coin, and I don't know if the startup sequence mentions that this is an Atari Games game, but
when's the first time you played Vicious Circle at the arcade?
Yes. Not too long after it was unveiled. I mean, you had to. And now, of course, it's part of Blade Wars. So there's a possibility if there's a best of 7 challenge, this game gets drawn.
Oh, wow. That's funny. You guys got to train up.
I put all the fighting games in a spreadsheet. Kind of do it like Hardcore Challenge, except it's just fighting games only. You draw a fighting game, you play it. It's a one-on-one. I mean, it was kind of the same deal where it was like the best of 7 against JP Pitts.
Right.
Oh, look at this. It says, I want my $2. That was printed on the PCB. Well, that's interesting.
Nice. I wonder what the story behind that is.
Yeah. had this game been completed, I mean, what would the end of the game look like? Because you're like,
I mean, that game would have not done well, I don't think, had it been completed, though. I mean, think about what was coming out in 96. That's like Soul Calibur time or
yeah,
Soul Edge or whatever, Tekken 2
Killer
time,
Instinct, and
Yeah. Well, no, I think Killer Instinct, yeah, maybe Killer Instinct 1
it's a
was for
clone to
sure
Killer
out.
Instinct,
No, but I'm
pretty
thinking
much.
if part 2 was out, and I don't think part 2 was out quite yet. But yeah, it was just a lot of I think Virtual Fighter 2 had come out by the time this would have came out, and
Yeah,
it was stuff was just so advancing so fast,
yeah. Um, actually, let me just throw this in there. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of gameplay footage. Oh, this guy's just
I used
spamming.
to use the vampire that like throws his own head. I remember that guy.
Malice. Yeah, and this is another thing that was throwing me off. It's like the health bar is blue, and I was thinking, oh, it's turning red. No, that's your health bar. Now we're going to get fatality. Did he just kill the other guy or what? It didn't look like. It's like somebody playing this.
Yeah, see, they would change the way those characters looked from time to time when we would come in. Their colors would be different. And
One of the
their moves would always
fatalities.
change, and how you did their moves would change depending on what week we came in. We were getting lots of builds of this. I remember
some of
that
the animation
ugly
wasn't
looking.
updated.
As I say, I remember the ugly looking bug guy. I remember a lot of these cutscenes being kind of blank, like no faces yet on the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was a trip to see that stuff actually is preserved up at the arcade, man. They have so many, rare games up there that you can only check out.
Nobody has 1cc'd this game yet, by the way.
Really?
Nope. Nobody has done a 1cc on this. So I assume someone would be playing this game for how fast you can beat the game. Nobody's submitted a score for a 1cc for this. Oh, that's an Mortal Kombat 4 cabinet? That's weird.
That's not the arcade's version, I don't think. They have the original cabinet, or at least as close to the original as you can.
But I was kind of surprised that they pulled the camera back and that game was in a Mortal Kombat 4 cabinet, which was bizarre. But
it always had a 6-button layout.
Yeah,
the cabinet I played it on.
But nobody's 1cc'd it, so I do want to.
I haven't even played it since I started working at the arcade. I should probably mess with it.
I do want to mention this. There was a score submitted by you recently.
Which game?
Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
You 1cc'd the game, and I gotta remove this, by the way. I gotta stop the screen. You have the new house high in Street Fighter V.
No, I do not have the house high in Street Fighter V. I have.
What do you mean?
I have a score that's that high, but I did it on the clock while I was working. And if you set a record when you're on the clock, it's not submittable.
What do you mean it's not submittable?
Because you're at work. You're not supposed to be breaking records at work. That's the policy. So it's fair, Who told you that about that score? Josh told you I had that score.
The news is broken on the Bloodcast. So you know what? Screw that. Where's my screen? I'm trying to pull this up. Here we go. This is up. Now I gotta move this up. Actually, we're not ready for this yet. Here we go. 390, 330. What's the score you got? Or is it 393?
No, that's it. Let me see. I got the picture, but that's not official. Like, I was on the clock when I got that score.
Oh, screw that. I'm counting it.
No. Let me check my.
I'm going to. I don't care if it was on the clock or off the clock. That score is higher than the house high that's on there. So you know what? I'm reporting it since it was already covered.
Oh my goodness! Here, can you see
I
that?
can't. Hold on. I gotta switch views here. There. Oh, it's 393. So I got it wrong. Yeah. Let me correct that real quick. And that didn't quite go the way I wanted. Ah! Doggone it. Where's my... No. Come on, PowerPoint. Where are you at? Where are you at? Why can't I modify that? There we go. There. I fixed it.
That is not official. I do not.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You broke the score, so it's now, as far as I'm concerned, it's canon. Damn it. Well, since I got this on the screen, I might as well run through it.
I'm going to get in trouble.
I know that's cutting into your time, but
no,
horror story. Andrew Owasco took the house high at 358K. That was on the 7th. I took Cyberlip. That hasn't been entered yet, but it will be shortly. 402,300. That was the 1cc.
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing at home and not been able to do it. I finally did a 1cc and I got a full boss rush. So that was key. I had to get every boss the second time around in the last level. If you don't get the full boss rush, then you're probably going to fall short. So I was happy I got the full boss rush and I had lives to cover it because I've been having so much trouble. Cheap deaths and stuff.
How far are you getting? I was going to ask you, how far are you getting in Road Blaster?
I did not play Road Blaster.
I haven't. I've been playing it all week. That's what I was asking.
Andrew Owasco, however, beat Chloe Gwynn's house high and took the record for himself. 571K. King Can Black one. Gosh, I can't talk now. Damn it. Boson. Brandon Travis had a challenge card to break 500,000. That means he had to beat the house high. His own previous record to fill his challenge card. He managed to do it. So that's the new record, 501,000. Andrew got Spiders. He lost that for a bit. Almost got 300,000 on it. Eric Gallant, which was the recent Monday Mystery game, got 404K. Castle of Dragon, I had the house high at the beginning of the week, and then Andrew proceeded to take it back. Of course he did. Right. Before I got this other score put in so I could get back to the 10th place in the power rankings. And Chris Plackey put in a new speed run for Mortal Kombat 4. Claudio Capello.
Chris is the only one who's submitted a score,
I know.
Right? He's competing with himself at this point, right?
Well, it's not an easy game, the 1cc, either.
No, I heard it's difficult.
Claudio Capello took Skin's game. He went 20 under par, and then Jim Patzer takes the house highs on Blazing Star and Ninja Gaiden. They were not world records. He had scored higher numbers at Garcade, so that's why this note is down there. His scores at Garcade are much higher than the ones at GGA. I'll just put that way. Let me hide this now. So
that's
whether it's official or unofficial, are you going to make it official?
I went in today for like an hour and gave it a few tries, and it's just all about killing the hidden character. You know, if you can maintain the perfect game and then
did you record it?
Which one?
Today
I was recording all day today.
The 393 run. Did you?
No, the 393 run I just photographed. I have it. I have the photo of the score. Yeah, no, I know. That's why I know it's not.
You did record it. Why?
I was working.
I don't care.
I wouldn't just, if I set up a camera and just start recording while I'm working, that means I'm going to try to submit a score while I'm on the clock, which you can't do. right? So I was just, killing 15 minutes or whatever before I had to leave.
Oh, whatever.
But I will make it official. I promise. I'm going in there
No
with the
vid,
camera
no
on my
did,
days
right?
off.
That's
Right,
what she
exactly.
says.
Right.
She also wants a challenge card. Well, when you get back to America, you'll get a challenge card. I'm pretty certain of it. My challenge card, I've only completed 6 of them. 2 of my games are down, so I couldn't complete the whole set even if I
Food
wanted
fight.
to right now.
Right?
Well,
Food
it's not
fight's
just Food Fight. It's 64th Street is also out of commission.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
We got those prioritized. They'll be getting looked at right directly so you can get on to your next card, man.
All right. What are some of the other games you tested out?
All right. So the first day of work, the first game I tested was Wayne Gretzky for the PC. So Windows 95. I was like, well, PC would it have been back then? But yeah, it was 95, 96.
Yeah, I bet that Wayne Gretzky in the arcade is running on Windows hardware.
This version is nothing like that 3D one that's at the arcade. This was just a PC game, regular sprites, similar to the Genesis version, I'd have to say. But I didn't get to really play it my first day because the whole day was spent like configuring the PC and for the tech office trying to get the gaming PC to work with the Thrustmaster stick I was supposed to be testing it with and all that. So I spent the day playing the arcade cabinet Primal Rage that was in the office there while they tried to get Wayne Gretzky installed on the PC.
Okay.
And then I was quickly moved the next day to one of my favorite games of all time. It's a PlayStation 1 fighting game where you play as giant robots. It's called Zero Divide. It's kind of like a Virtual Fighter or Dead or Alive style system, with a punch, a kick, and a block,
Not like Techromancer?
Yeah, but like I said, it's more just like Virtual Fighter with robots. Zero Divide was awesome.
Kind of that.
Yeah, Techromancer is more cartoony and kind of based off those, inspired by those old Japanese 60s cartoons and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Zero Divide's more like an Armor Core 1 kind of palette, like a little darker, a little, the robots have camouflage pieces and stuff. It's a different kind of look than Techromancer.
Okay. I could have sworn I heard the phrase "Rise of the Robots."
Yeah.
Did you what?
I did not have to play Rise of the Robots at work. There was Rise of the Robots 3DO there that was being tested, and like we all avoided that like the plague. It was like, do not get stuck having to play Rise of the Robots.
Yeah, 3D. What happened with that one? Because that's widely regarded to be one of the worst fighting games of all time. I mean, it looks good graphically, but gameplay is another matter. What happened with that one? Why was it so bad?
I have no idea the origin of that game, or it had come over from a European developer or whatever. I want to say Psygnosis, but I'm probably wrong. But anyway, they had made it.
That's probably right.
And then we were just doing an adaptation of it. It wasn't like it was being programmed there in house or anything. It was just a
She's wondering
a license deal.
She's wondering if it's better or worse than Double Dragon 3.
I don't know. It's pretty bad. Rise of the Robots is like, it's very stiff, very unresponsive, like not very good game at all. Bad animation, terrible sound. I mean, there's probably documentaries out there about how bad that game is on YouTube. Okay.
Some of the other ones that you play tested that are on the Goblin Ghost arcade floor?
A virtual racing. I believe it was like a virtual racing maybe for the 32X or something like that.
Like Sega?
Yeah, like a Genesis version of Virtua Racing, or maybe it was like
Yeah, I mean, I had
32X.
the cart.
It was a long time ago, and it wasn't very good.
Virtual Racing for, yeah, because the Gum Ghost has the arcade version, Virtual Racing. Yeah, I had
Yeah, but that's not. You mean, are there any ones else that I tested that are out there on the game floor now?
Yeah.
I'd say Vicious Circle, Freeze, which is that puzzle game, Beavis and Butthead, Wayne Gretzky, Primal Rage 2, which I really didn't test. I just got to see and play once.
Beavis and Butthead. Now, there's two versions of that. Goblin Ghost got one of the prototypes, and there was 2 game discs in there, 2 different versions of the game. The one that's in there, I think, is the harder one, and no, they're trying to determine which one was the less glitchy one. I think the one that's in there is not. I think the one that's in there now is not any better than the one they had originally. The one they had the original one was easier to play. The starting level is different. The bonus rounds you just can't play indefinitely, because apparently the feature is you can replay the bonus rounds multiple times.
Okay. I mean,
I
I have like
that eye for that one, but I hadn't gone for it because they switched the disc for the other version.
Oh, all right. There's a Genesis and 32X release. Google which one was made by Time Warner Interactive, because that's the one I tested.
Freeze. Now, why was that one not released? Because I kind of seemed like it was a pretty fun one.
Yeah, I like the character designs, the little silicone graphic guys, and I don't know. I just maybe there wasn't, like I said, they got bought up at the time, and a lot of those games were shelved. I have no idea why. Oh, Area 51. That's the other one I.
Yeah, forgot about that one. Digitized actors and stuff, and then you had to do, I guess, shoot, I guess stills of the aliens, or at least puppetry or something to that effect. Your favorite memories of that one, I guess. What are your memories of Area 51, the arcade game?
So I was testing it, and I traded Hoop It Up to be able to use Area 51 for my 40 hours the next week, right? And I thought, like, oh, good, I don't have to play Hoop It Up anymore. I'll dual wield 2 guns like Antonio Banderas and Desperado and just shoot all day long. And within like 30 minutes, my arms were both just dead tired. And it's like, oh, I have to fire these guns 8 hours a day. It's going to be awful. So, yeah, Area 51 was just incredibly hard to do because you have to keep your arms up, shooting the guns, and you get like lazy and sidearm it or whatever. But I remember being bored and shooting only the security guards, like the cops or whatever, the military, the good guys, right?
Yeah.
And then it unlocked that predator mode, where you're like a hunter killer, and it's got the predator heat vision and different weapons and stuff. And I was
hang on. So this is something I didn't know. So if you kill all the good guys, if you blow all your life shooting at the good guys and none of the aliens,
right,
it switches over to predator mode.
It's not called predator mode because of trademarks. It's called like Krylon Hunter or something, Cryon Hunter, something like that. But yeah, it's basically predator mode. That same heat vision from the movie and enhanced weaponry and stuff.
Okay, so you have to not shoot one alien and expend all of your lives, or however many lives you get.
It's just first shoot the first 3 cops or special forces people, and then it'll go into Cryon Hunter mode. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look this up. So let me show this Hoop It Up.
Oh yeah. Probably tell how to do it online now.
This is the thing you have to play all the time.
40 hours, 1 week, 40-hour week.
You gotta be. There's not much to this. Like I played a basketball game. Come on now. This is ridiculous.
Oh, your hands are so sore after playing that all day long. Yeah, you hit.
Why?
There's
nothing to this.
You punch the basketballs and it launches the ping pong ball. Yeah. Hoop it up.
I don't know what there is to test.
That's giving me trauma, like seeing that thing. Like, oh my. Dude, that cabinet.
I mean, there's some arcades that have it, but you don't have to maintain a video screen or whatever. But I don't. I mean, this is fun for head to head, but not to for score chasing purposes.
And I remember at one point during that week, I was just sitting on my chair, leaning back, and I had my foot on that basketball, and I was just kicking my foot back and forth between both basketballs. It was a nightmare.
Okay, I'm gonna end your torture.
Dude, that's great. I'm glad you were able to bring that up, man.
God, I thought that was a video game called Hoop It Up, but now I saw that as like 3-on-3. Oh, do you do any graphics? I assume you do graphics design because you're reviewing graphic novels.
No, I'm a comic book writer on the side and do indie publishing.
Okay, can you give us an overview of that since you're here?
So, what's it like to be a comic book creator or whatever?
Or what do you have? What are, I guess, talk about some of your past creations and
yeah, sure. I have this kaiju comic book called Psycho 66.
And what is that? And that's about.
And that's just about. I don't really want to get into it, but it's set in the 60s in Japan, and it's
like a synopsis. I mean, it doesn't have to be the blow by blow.
I'd say it's a romantic comedy set in the backdrop of like a kaiju battle. Takes place in 1966 during Valentine's Day over in Tokyo.
And when did you make that one?
Comic? This I made in 2020, and then I made this cyberpunk noir book called Dixie Rose. Yeah, it's about a rapid orbital space elevator and a crime that takes place at the bottom of the elevator. So all the suspects are like asteroid miners and space, military and stuff like that. So it's just a pulp noir with a future setting, kind of like
and fan service.
Well,
I hope I don't get in trouble for showing that because of the way they're covered up. If lack of cover, actually.
Right, but it's it's just standard comic book stuff, not nothing.
Bunch of women in a violent firefight. It looks like.
Yeah, but yeah, different books like that. What else do I have? I have. That's good enough for my publishing stuff.
Are they for sale?
That whole on my website there's a section called comic books, and that includes Tiger Blue, which is my main title that I work on, and like back issues of other stuff I've worked on, Dixie Rose, stuff like that. Oh, here,
that's on Retrographic Books, correct?
Yeah. Hang on, let me grab some.
Well, throw this back up here then. Throw this back up here because
yeah.
That's your website.
And here's Tiger Blue, which is kind of like anthropomorphic animal people combat manga. That kind of
Metamorphic Force.
Yeah. It's very heavily inspired by Altered Beasts, Metamorphic Force, stuff along those lines. And then I have 80s mecha versus biblical giants called Red Giant Battle. It takes place during the Afghanistan-Soviet War in 1988, and they discover some biblical giants in there in the hills of Afghanistan and send in some 80s mecca to take it out. So, I'm all over different genres, doing a lot of heavily influenced by video game type of comic books for sure.
Now they have Gub Ghost. I guess they have a graphics thing going at Gub Ghost. Oh, King Blackman has joined us.
Oops, he said he missed me because I work Mondays at Pinball now because Gene, the other employee, is back in college, so I'm not at Monday Mystery every week. Yeah, I'll see you sometime, man. I'll be back there eventually.
And that's how I got this interview. Is basically I walked over to Pinball and you were on duty, so taking a break from score chasing or at least the challenge card and getting super frustrated. Because I spent way too many hours in the car. And I'm also dealing with a hand injury now.
How'd you injure your hand?
So the Monday Mystery game, Caliber 50,
okay,
it has a rotary
controller, right?
One play of that. This, from here down to here, this side of my hand is very sore.
Mm-hmm.
And if I use my hand for picking up for anything, I feel it. I feel pain in this hand, which I'm going to have JP Pitts in here a little bit later after you depart because you got your other podcast. I may not do Bloody Wars Tournament this weekend because my hand's messed up and I'm not happy.
Now, 50 cal is like what, similar control scheme as like Victory Road or
yes,
Akari Warrior or something like that?
The problem is, I think the stick is a lot more I think the stick needs some loosening up because it's stiff. And because of that, and the motions I'm having to turn the stick, looks like I'm not the only one. Yeah.
You guys need to train up, whatever.
It's not training up. That stick needs to be loosened up or something, or I'm going to have to wear a glove because, and Chloe Gwynn also messed up playing that game. The youngster messed up their hand as well. And didn't play. So I only played it a couple of times during T20. Well, it wasn't on the arcade floor yet. They didn't have this game yet.
What's the wrist breaker side tournament?
I won. So that was T20 a few years ago. I won that. Okay. It was a side tournament. Victory Road, Gunmania, Midnight Resistance, and Heavy Barrel, and one other game had the rotary sticks.
Okay. Akari Warriors, probably.
Victory Road was the Akari Warriors. The Heavy Barrel was in there, but they did not have the original Akari Warriors in that tournament. I think that came out. That was used in a different tournament later. But I mentioned 4 of them. There's one more. I just can't remember what it was. But regardless, I played the wrist breaker, and that's not my wheelhouse of game, but I managed to win. So, but then again, I didn't injure my hands on them. One play at Caliber 50 did this much damage. That's not good. And it's 3 days later after that. And I've been massaging it, heat, cold, biofreeze on it, and I had a chiropractor mess with it today. It's still.
You need acupuncture.
I don't think acupuncture is going to do anything because it's in the joint. I mean, my mom was saying, well, maybe you're getting arthritis. I was like, gosh, I hope not.
I mean,
I went to the chiropractor originally because I thought I was getting carpal tunnel. It turned out it was because my pinky finger was getting numb typing on keyboard. And it's like, am I getting carpal tunnel for typing on a keyboard? No, was a pinched nerve in the neck that ran all from your neck all the way down to your hand. Yes, those nerves in your spine.
Right.
If you got a pinched nerve in your neck, you'll feel it in some other part of your body, but you're going to think, well, that part of the body is the problem. No, you can trace it all the way back to your spine. And once you get that spine adjusted, you get relief. And I've been going for 20, 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I develop other problems like bad back or like I've thrown out my back a few times, chiropractor was invaluable in getting my spine straightened out because I could see my I couldn't stand up straight. I was seeing that I was curved.
Right.
Yeah, it was not pleasant. But anyway, Tracy said I'm not that old, but you know what? I'm 53 years old. I'm not a youngster. I won Gamer of the Year at age 50. Anyway, we only got 5 minutes left with you. I didn't ask you I should ask you the very basic question. How did you get into gaming? What was the hook that got you into gaming?
Feel like I kind of. So my
Like
uncle,
the first game.
like because I'm trying to decide, like, oh, did I play Frogger at the arcade first, or I'm thinking my first like actual gaming experiences. My uncle had brought home an Atari 2600, right? That's the wood panel one with the switches and a shoebox full of carts. And I gravitated to 3 cartridges that I would just play every day. Spider-Man, which is the one that's like, and you're just climbing that building, right? And then Green Goblin is at the top. I became obsessed with that game when I was a kid. Frogger we had on that console. That was one of my favorites. And now what I know of as a bit of a Defender clone was the Empire Strikes Back. So you're going back and forth in a snow speeder, like attacking AT-ATs or whatever. So yeah, I was pretty into those 3 games. I'd say I had to have been like 5, maybe, or 6 then, pretty young. And then as I started to get older, like 9 or 10, into my teenage years, my parents were league bowlers, so every Friday it was like, you're going into the bowling alley with us while we, are here for 5 hours or whatever the league bowling was. Here's $5 in quarters, make it last all night, so I grew up on the Ultra Beasts and Ghouls and Ghosts and, UN Squadron, Strider. That was kind of like what was at that arcade, of course, a Turtles that eventually became a Simpsons that eventually became, a Sunset Riders or something, it was all those real basic, I call them front row games at the Ghost, all the most popular, well-known ones, and I was just hooked, man, making my quarters last. And then I kind of skipped the Nintendo era because I was a bit of a graphic snob, and I didn't. The arcade was far superior to me, the look of all that. So I wasn't really into the Nintendo stuff. But then the Super Nintendo came out, and it had leveled up enough to where I was into it, and able to beat games at that point because I was old enough, and that's when I just was a full-blown, considered myself a gamer, buying magazines every month, Game Pro, Game Fan, Electronic Gaming Monthly. That's all you talk about with your friend group at school, that type of shit. I'd say right around Super Nintendo eras when I was like a full-blown, gamer dude or whatever.
So the first arcade game you actually touched
it was probably Joust. Like I remember going to the ice hockey rink and like seeing Joust, but like I'm not tall enough at that point to really reach it, let alone like get into games or playing it. And of course, you remember Miss Pac-Man, but that's like what your mom, my mom was really into Miss Pac-Man and stuff. So I wouldn't really
Space
say
Invaders for me.
I might have played Asteroids a bunch because I remember, that the gameplay of the arcade version of Asteroids, but like it's very faint memories, so it's like I had to have been pretty young at that point, not young enough to actually, consider what I was doing as playing,
Future goals. What are your future goals on the gaming scene?
My future goal is to get that official Street Fighter V world record so I don't have to be off the books. So for now,
Anything else though?
And I really want that excuse my language, that 1cc of Road Avenger. I love that game from Sega CD when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite. It was my absolute favorite FMV game of all my Sega CD games. And the arcade's a lot different, but I really do want to get that 1cc on that game.
What about winning? I don't know. How many times have you had the hardcore title?
Oh, maybe once or twice. Just
once or twice.
Randomly playing around.
And I think I set you up for the hardcore title because I vacated the belt and made a match between two Galloping Ghost employees that never held it, and you were one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think you ever...
Oh, and I beat Cam once to get the title because it was at some shmup game. I forget what it was.
What about winning Game of the Year? Do you think you would contend for it?
I don't really have ambitions for Gamer of the Year.
Okay. What about the challenge cards? Now,
I'm interested.
Were you chasing some of the scores on the challenge? Were you one of the ghosts chasing the scores and making those established gamers complete their cards?
No. Of the new stuff that's been implemented, I'm interested in the achievement page. That new achievement book. It's like, I might start messing around with that a little bit.
All right.
And in my future, I definitely have my eye set on getting a freeze high score, like figuring out what the exact rule set is you're supposed to play by to get a world record on that and kind of grind that. Because I used to play.
Apparently, you gotta add the scores manually.
Okay.
So you gotta film it and then add the scores up manually. At least that's what I think you have to do.
Does it reset every match or something like that?
Something like that. I don't understand. I don't understand it either. But it's like, well, if I can't see the score, and then what's the score, and how do I get there? And it's like, and then the leaderboard. How do I do that? It's like,
yeah, I used to love playing that at work, so I want to get back and set a score.
Yeah, that's a nice head-to-head game. Maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe have a hardcore match on it.
Yeah.
All right. So you gotta take off prepare yourself for another podcast, and that one is what?
Oh yeah, that starts at 9:30. I'll be over on Well Read Reviews, joining this guy from Australia named Bancroft, and we're both going to be reviewing Ghost of the Badlands.
Word of warning. So I had somebody from Australia on my podcast. Yeah, the lag time is like 5 to 10 seconds. So you might say something to the host and he's not going to get it right away. And then you're going to think, well, there's a problem with the stream. He can't hear me or something, but no.
Are there cameras upside down?
The cameras are not upside down.
I'm just kidding. Because they're.
But the transfer of the live video doesn't get down there for several seconds. So you're going to get confused like I did.
Right.
I interviewed the owner of One Up Arcade down in Australia. So,
I got to meet him. He came out to the arcade and visited this year.
He's the celebrities you've met at the arcade.
Yeah, I got to meet Billy Mitchell. I've got to meet all
the Mortal
Kombat actors, Raiden, Liu Kang came out, Shang Tsung. That kind of stuff is always exciting.
Any pro wrestlers? Famous
Oh,
pro
and I
wrestlers.
get to meet Jeff Lee, creator of Cuber. He comes around all the time. I haven't seen any pro wrestlers yet.
Okay, because I'm waiting for Xavier Woods to come back. Because
I heard he had come to the arcade.
I won a hardcore match with him for the hardcore title because he's never faced any of the elite players at the Galloping Ghost.
Oh, and apparently I missed a celebrity. One night I was working, and one of my favorite artists, MCP Pants from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, was at the arcade.
Oh, okay.
He does all the candy rap, and if you've ever watched Aqua Teen or Adult Swim, like you'd recognize his songs and stuff. But yeah, he came out, and we didn't even know he was there till he was posting later, I guess.
Yeah, they kind of sneak in and they sneak out incognito. They don't want to draw too much attention because they're there to have some fun at the arcade. But if I recognize somebody, I'd go up to them, say hello, and I would not bug them for an autograph because I'm not an autograph collector anyway. But
right,
I encourage them to go see Doc Mack because he'd be tickled being the arcade owner. All right, Matt Fowler. Thank you for coming in tonight. Giving us at least an hour. We got a little bit more out of it, but
yeah, thanks for having me.
Good luck with the other podcast, and sheesh, I'll be happy to come back soon, but I gotta be 100% because playing with a bad hand is harder to do if you're like screaming blame murder and pain while playing the game. That's no fun.
You have to switch to driving games for a few weeks. I'm just messing with you, man. You'll be fine.
When I hurt myself on one type of game, I do switch to a different type of game, so the movements of your hands are completely different. But this is
a week of hoop it up.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, but this is hurting too much, and I'm not going to try it. I mean, yeah.
I hope you get better soon, man. We like having you up at the arcade.
Yeah, I just not real thrilled about commuting 200 miles all the time, but it is what it is. All right, Matt. Have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you around the arcade soon. The
all right, man.
From Doc.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Take care.
All right, that's not all we have tonight. So that was our first guest, Matt Fowler. I have more to present. Our second segment is going to be a pre-taped interview I had with Paul Zimmerman. And I've wanted to get him on the show, but things didn't work out. I think he was dealing with, he was having voice issues at the time. Now I got to find my doggone video because I thought I had it ready to go. And actually, I've got it ready to go. So this is my interview I did with Paul Zimmerman and from the Pinball Expo. And if you remember him, he is the has card number 1 of the Twin Galaxies Walter Day trading card sets. He was the very first one. So here we go. And pull it open. Here we go.
All right, joining me now. This guy, we're at the Pinball Expo.
This guy.
Paul Zimmerman, who is card number 1.
That's the guy.
Card number 1. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Card number 1 of Walter Day's trading card set. Here we're at the Pinball Expo. You got your own merch table.
I do. I'm running the virtual pinball tournament as well.
So we will be, full disclosure, taping this in pieces and string this together later, as customers will be filing in and out throughout the day. So tell me about yourself. What is your claim to fame in the gaming world?
I got a bunch of Atari 2600 road records, some 7800, Atari 7800 world records. And then after that, I became card number 1 of the Walker Day trading cards. So just doing the road records and then getting the number 1 card. That's how I got famous. Yeah, more about me. So I was inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame and Museum in Tumwa, Iowa. And I was one of the first ones. There were 10 of us. And these are the medallions they hand out to the 10 players. Billy Mitchell, Steve Wiebe, me, Todd Rogers.
The infamous Todd Rogers.
He is now. I think he was before too. Let's see, I got the Pinball Expo Spirit Award. Not too many have gotten this. I think 5 maybe.
And what does that represent?
I guess my spirit. My spirit is good.
Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
Spirit is good.
Yeah. I'm all about the Pinball Expo.
All right.
So no, I help organize the video game part of Pinball Expo. So I got this award when I created the first video game room at Pinball Expo. That was the same year. And I'm guessing that's why I got this award for that. Which, by the way, 2019. And since then, the video game section of Pinball Expo has grown.
Yeah.
Huge since then. Today, or this year, we have over 40 video game vendors.
Yeah, they're scattered about the whole convention floor.
Yeah, so I'm the co-organizer of it. I don't do too much. Pretty much Todd Freeman does most of it, but I'm still here in spirit. That's for sure.
So, how were you selected as number 1?
So that's a good question, and I've asked Walker Day that many times.
If you are a Stern Tour ticket holder, there is a bus here that will be leaving shortly. Again, if you are attending the Stern Tour, please head to the bus outside of the convention center.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've asked Walker Day that personally, and he said that just tell people you're a special guy.
Special guy, that's it.
Special guy.
Nothing else. Wow.
That was it. But I know the whole story, and Billy knows the whole story. And then the Twin Galaxies trading card book, in the first one, I think it's the first one, maybe the second one. I think it's the first one. It's the first one. Billy wrote an article about that. So if you buy that book, you can see what he says about how that happened. But pretty much how it happened was I got the card number 1. I was the first card. Later on, Walter kind of forgot about Billy. Then Walter created a new series of cards, and he wanted Billy to be the new series of cards. That's how he got the number 1. But mine is still made in circulation and all that, so that's why there's still another number 1.
Two series.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when he made the second series, he asked me if I wanted a different picture. And I didn't even think about it, but I said yes. And I'm happy I did, because now people would know just by the picture that, hey, it's different. It's not the same series. The only way that you'll know is by the different picture. So this is the very first series, and this one came out after.
This other one looks completely different.
Yeah.
I never seen. You are not wearing glasses.
Right. And looking forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dan Valley used the same picture for all 3 of his cards. I don't know why. He didn't take another picture. He's like, same promo pic.
Besides card number 1 and also card number 2600 as an Atari 2600. Because I'm a big Atari 2600 player. But Walker writes on the back, he explains that this number was in high demand from a lot of people. And he gave it to me. This is for my Berserk Road record. I was the first to get over 1 million. There's a bug in the game where people said it's not possible to get 1 million. But I worked around that bug. Luckily, I was able to get over 1 million.
Roll the score.
Since then, people have seen my score, my video of it, and they beat me.
They have beaten it?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
I think two or three players.
All right.
But I'm not sure how high they've gotten. I don't think above 2 million.
Right.
Yeah.
The bug is some internal timer runs down
Pretty much.
and the game ends.
It's pretty much a screensaver. So Atari programmers, they put that in there because they thought that kids will walk away from having the game on. They put down the joystick and they just walk away and forget about it. So then Atari thought, let's put in like a screensaver to save energy. So that's a whole power thing. So
And unintentionally.
So after a certain amount of time, which is on the card, it says I think 7 minutes of not moving. That's when the bug kicks in.
And technically, Berserk can be 1 CC'd in this 1 credit clear when the arcade game is...
The arcade?
Yeah, the arcade game can't be 1 credit cleared, but 2600 you could technically beat the game because you just survive until the robots surrender, so to speak.
So does the Berserk arcade game, does it have a kill screen then? Is
No.
that what you're about?
Not that, no, I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
I don't think it has an ending.
The Berserk arcade game, if it does, it is, you would have to clear so many
The
boards,
person-
thousands of boards to even do that.
Joe West would be the guy who would know. If they're
Unfortunately, he's no
Right,
longer
I
with
know.
us.
Yeah.
Now,
He's a good
digitalpress.com may have some information. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
When you first started playing video games, what was the very first game you ever played that got you hooked?
Well, I know it was an arcade game.
Yeah.
The question is, what was it?
That for me, it was Space Invaders.
Kind of hard. Yeah. Maybe Asteroids.
So Asteroids was the game that got you
Pretty
playing, got you hooked. Because that's kind of a hard one to deal with
Right, especially
for
when-
first time,
when
for
you're
first game.
7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it wasn't Pac-Man. It was for sure in the late 70s, maybe early 80s. The thing is I got my first video game system was the Atari 2600. I got it in 1980. And then the first game that came with that was Space Invaders. It was a Pac-Man game.
Yeah.
So that was the first home console video game that I ever played. It was Space Invaders.
Okay. Now, what got you into competitive gaming? That is chasing.
I didn't know much about it. All the games I have records on. These are some of them: Berserk, Phoenix, Defender, Passati, Atlantis, Demon Attack. They were all just favorite games of mine when I was a kid. Or just favorite game. So I don't know. Just one day I think I found out about Twin Galaxies, that there's a place to submit scores, and So I was like, what games? I would just pick my favorite games that I have fun playing, because that's key, especially with marathon games that go on for many hours. You want to make sure it's a fun game that you enjoy, because if not, it'll be very painful.
Right.
So yeah, it just happened. I play them. I just haven't got the records. I sent them in. That's pretty much how it started.
How many conventions have you done? You've been doing for correction, how many years?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And you started at some point.
I was going to say maybe 20 years now, right?
So you started, I don't know, 2004, and you got a vendor table at which convention?
Let's see. So I started first going to Midwest Gaming Classic. I went to it was the second one, where they were in the Boy Scouts building, on the basement of a Boy Scouts building.
Yeah, I didn't make that
NPC
place.
started.
It was the Brookfield Sheridan. What's the first one I did?
Okay, that was
Probably 04.
That was, I think, the second show after that one. So after that one, which was the second show I went to, the third one was at a high school gymnasium. Then the fourth one was that one. So I want to say, and when they were there, it was the 10th anniversary. Were you there at the 10th anniversary? Was that the first one?
10th anniversary was what?
Midwest Gaming Classic that you went to? Was it the 10th anniversary when you went there?
Okay, so my streak is at 20. So I started 04, and I went every year since.
So 04. So was that the 10th anniversary, do you know?
For the Midwest Gaming, no, it was the second one.
Okay.
They started in 02.
Okay.
So I went to 04 at Brookfield Sheridan. Then they moved it to Oconomowoc for a few years. Then they moved it back to the Brookfield Sheridan. Then they moved it to Wisconsin Center. That's how it progressed.
Okay. So
I think it was 2 or 3 years I think it was at least 3 years in Oconomowoc.
So I was probably there in 2002 then.
Before I started, yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was my first show that I went to, or if it was Video Game Summit. It might have been the same year.
How did you meet Walter Day?
It was actually at Midwest Gaming Classic where I first met him. Yeah.
And something convinced him to make you card number 1, which we kind of already covered.
Well, yeah. So when I first met him, which I'm sure he does this with a lot of people, not just with me, but he said, "Paul, your Aurora is amazing. Your Aurora. I'm very impressed." So he was able to see my spirit out of my body.
Competitive spirit.
Right.
Because he does meditation.
Correct. Yes. So something got him to decide that I'll be card number 1. Yeah.
All right.
It might actually be a spiritual thing, because he does say you're a special person.
All right, and join me now, JP Pitts, who was busted a gut to get in here, and he has no audio because somehow he got muted because the guest chose to mute himself.
Can you hear me, Steven?
Yeah, you unmuted yourself because you were muted.
I could see that.
I tried to unmute you, and it told me, well, the guest muted yourself. Anyway.
How's everyone doing? How's
I got
everyone
a problem
doing?
here.
Yeah, I could see that. You did mention a little bit of that. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. It's every time you game, right? It's like that stiffness in your fingers when you're gaming too much. It happens a lot, so don't feel too bad.
This was just playing that game one time.
Yeah.
What a bunch of crap.
I didn't think
what the hell? No!
I didn't think L50 would do that, but I mean, it happens to all of us, right?
Apparently, I was not the only one who got hurt on that thing.
Yeah. Well, just don't feel left out. That's all I have to say.
Have you played it?
No, actually, I've never played the game. I think the last time, you know what? That's a lie. I think the last time I played that game was in T20. Other than that, I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, you're still rocking that jersey after they upset the Bears. I don't know how they
9
beat the
sacks,
Bears.
baby. 9 sacks in that game. Drake May played phenomenally. I was proud of our defense. Tracy Gleave, what's popping? Claudio Capello, I see you. What's going on, folks? I'm glad everyone's in the stream. Oh my God, we've got a lot of people in here. Great stuff.
You got a few in here, yes. So
okay.
let's
How was
share
it with
this.
How was it with Matt?
Great.
Cool.
There's some things I didn't know about him, so this is coming up.
Yeah.
And right now it's a little iffy that I am going to make this because of the hand injury, which I'm not thrilled about. But tell us about the tournament real quick. I mean, you seem to have about 18 people for this thing as of Tuesday.
So now going into 19. So we just got updated. We've just got updated word that the one and only Galloping Ghost's very own GGA Shady will be participating in the tournament. So we just got word of that. Your former Bloody Wars champion will be in there. Don't know what he has up in his sleeve. I know he's been playing a lot more of Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat. So we could see some stuff. Could we see the same thing with a new MK1? I mean, it's a lot to put into perspective, you know? I mean, during that time, he was playing that new Dragon Ball game, so he's interested in that as well. But you're going to be seeing GGA Shady this Sunday.
Now, I spammed that graphic around. I don't know if that caused some people to take a look at it. I kind of floated the idea maybe you need to do a Facebook sponsored ad to get even more people into this.
So we reached out to different arcades in the Illinois field. We've reached out to what's Yeti Station Arcade out in Aurora. We've reached out to Logan Square, Logan's Arcade, Prince Arcade as well. We've reached out to so many arcades that the people that are interested in Street Fighter. It's like you have no idea how many people that have so much interest in that game, especially now that Terry has been released not too long ago. It's going to be a good crowd.
Well, I hope so. That $35 entry fee is pretty high, though.
It is, but it is worth it, though. I mean, if you look at to what we've have versus what we're doing now versus the Galloping Ghost Arcade, you had you're getting $5 off of your entry fee altogether. So it's a win-win. So you're not losing anything.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you're saving more money. So
all right. So let's say Normer fails to champ. Besides the championship, what else is at stake?
So we do have cash money prize on the table. We also are adding in some raffles to hand out to the contestants. We feel like that the cash money, due to the high popularity of this tournament that's growing right now, we believe that it is in our best interest to make sure that the top 3 contenders can get a big payout. And with all that being invested, it looks like it's gonna be so. You've got that admission fee, half of that goes into the pot, and It goes to the top 3 contenders, depending on how many people we have, which is going to be a huge crowd. You're looking at a big payday. So that's one of the big reasons why you should come to Street Fighter 6.
Even if I'm just a mere spectator with this bad hand.
Well, Steven, we're at
Not
Thursday,
just
right?
me, but you're talking about anybody in the Chicago area that's ever played Street Fighter 6 and participated in Combo Breaker.
To answer that question, yes, Terry from Fatal Fury is in the Street Fighter 6 roster. So he was just released not too long ago. And
Terry
Tracy,
Bogart.
yes, exactly. And Tracy, you know, I've always wondered when you're gonna come back to the arcade and destroy some more scores. I mean, there's so many things going on right after you left to the UK. So I mean, if you come
home
over
is
here,
the UK for her.
yeah, no,
mean,
I know, but what I'm saying is, if I mean, there's so much that has happened before, after you left, so
Yeah.
expect a lot of scores to be taken, and expect some challenges at stake here.
Well, you know that she is the best female joust player in the world.
Is she?
Yes. She has the
Oh,
highest score of any female player on Joust at 30 million. She has
oh
the
well,
house high at Galpin Ghost, but she started
right.
on MAME and she did it live. So
I knew it was a high score. I mean, just hearing that she's the first female ever to, or the female to have the best score, you know, that just speaks history right there. We could see a lot of that happening here at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. You know, just bringing up the fact that this was done here. I mean, it's amazing. It's
I think
huge
she's
props to her.
duplicated it in several places, kind of like the Lonnie McDaniel was running around the world trying to roll the score on every Joust machine around every arcade in the world. I don't know
For
how many,
sure.
but
No,
yeah, she's
she's killing it. I'm pretty sure she's killing it, and she's practicing right now at the UK. And I know she's probably working hard right now. So whenever she comes by next year, expect some fierce scores to be put in, and maybe her own challenge card. We'll see.
all right. Anything else you want to plug? It's like
Uh,
anything. The future of Bloody Wars beyond Street Fighter 6.
well, we are in a new season now. Season 3 is just days away. And, you know, with so many things going on, we've got, you know, new games flying in. We're starting to change how we run things here in the Bloody Wars tournament. You guys are still going to see some retro fighting games, but expect more people to come around because of the fact that we're bringing in new modern games. And there's going to be way more modern games, more fighting games released. And it's only a matter of time when we can get our hands on it. And I feel like because Street Fighter 6 is a huge start for us, just expect more people around. Not only just for the roster, but people from Galloping Ghost. You're gonna see a lot of those people, and you're gonna see a lot, you know, of excitement coming in. So that's why, you know, you would see me, yeah, at least take a week off from work and just to make sure that things are straight, everything is aligned, and making sure that this all of our events that we have is going to be the best events that you'll ever experience. Not too long ago, we just had someone named Shane. He's a local resident in Chicago. He's having his birthday here in the Bloody Wars tournament. And just seeing people like that, just enjoying special moments to to create with, you know, the content, the entertainment, the people that show up. It's amazing every time we've put one of these things. And I can assure you, Steven, when we go out there and whenever there's going to be a new event coming up throughout this season, or hell, any other season that we put out, is going to be fabulous and fantastic. People are going to have fun. Watch.
All right. What are the chances I'm going to get my game?
You want your Breakers revenge. I know you want your Breakers revenge. It's coming, Steven. I haven't forgotten about it.
I'm teasing you on that, but I'm going to bring it up every time because it's easy to bring up.
Oh, I bet it is.
When are we going to get? So we just had Matt Fowler on.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to get Vicious Circle?
Why, is that one of his favorite games?
No, that was one of the games that he play tested before the whole outside world got to know what it was.
Well, Vicious Circle can be in the mix. I mean, I'm familiar with the game. I'm familiar with the roster. I'm just not familiar with how popular it is, because
I don't think it has to be popular.
Well, no, I mean, it could be. I mean, for example, we did Tattoo Assassins.
It's a proto, yeah.
Well, yeah, we had Tattoo Assassins not too long ago. I mean, we still put it out there. It doesn't matter how popular it is. I'm just trying to figure out what type of crowd are we gonna get in. So, I mean, it could be a great game for some people. Obviously, the game would have to be looked at and be reviewed a little bit. But once I fully understand but behind the scenes and the story of the game, we could see that game soon.
All right. So you have your broadcast every week on Tuesdays, most Tuesdays. So you're starting at noon this Sunday. It's going to be on YouTube and Twitch together, or is it just going to be on YouTube?
So yeah, we thought about it. It's safe that we do it on YouTube, but we should probably, it has been discussed, and there you could see I could probably change my mind where we could probably do Twitch as well, but for now, YouTube is a platform that I'm mostly familiar with. So unless if I see some big changes with Twitch or something that could be useful towards us, we're probably going to be sticking with YouTube for now.
Okay. Last question.
No, okay.
Are you going to enter Street Fighter 6 and compete? Because I laid it out that you need to be in the tournament as well.
Okay, so let me just say this. I had a conversation with someone. I don't know if she's in the stream right now. If you are, what's popping? Hopefully you're watching. But
I have no idea.
Okay, well,
I don't know who it is.
We
Catherine?
No.
Okay.
So we did have some. There has been talks. There has been people wanting me to join in. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. To those that really know me well, everyone knows that I am mostly and will be familiar with Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a different ball game. There are so many things you have to worry about regarding like the different controls that you have to worry about, like modern controls or classic ones. Even it's just a lot to take into consideration. Not to mention, it's funny because if you know what, hey Steven, I will be in the Street Fighter 6 tournament because I am a character in the Street Fighter 6 roster. JP. So I will be in Street Fighter 6.
You will play. Okay, so you're airing the Street Fighter 6 tournament. JP plays JP.
Well, no, I'm saying either way, JP is already in the tournament because JP is in the roster. So I'll be in it either
So
way.
you're gonna be coloring your hair and your beard solid white.
I'm gonna have to get a purple suit or something.
Yeah.
And a cane. There's a lot to consider here.
There's a lot. There's a whole lot to consider here.
But going back to what I was saying, this is Mortal Kombat is something that I've always it's always something that I've always loved. Street Fighter is a different ball game. It's a completely different game. Will I know it in time before the tournament? Probably not. Do people want me in it? Hell yeah. Is that gonna happen? We'll see. We'll have to see. We'll see.
JP Pitts DLC.
Don't know what that is, but okay.
Well, you'd be DLC for the game. I mean, you'd have the JP Pitts be in there as DLC to replace the actual JP in the game.
It's cool that they have a JP in the game. I'm wondering what's the story behind that. It's just like, what is it? It's got to be cool.
Yeah. What the hell was my question? I had it on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Darn it.
Was it like a video you're trying to show me or what?
I don't know, but you're about to run out of battery.
Here, I'll change it in a minute. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. So it's just a lot to consider, especially, modern controls, and not to mention dynamic controls where it's out of the tournament. So if you're one of those people that are familiar with dynamic controls, you're going to have a problem because it consists with AI, and as AI starts to evolve and start to take over the world, we're just trying to make things fair.
Now I'm not fully understanding what we're talking about here. So dynamic controls, basically it inputs the moves for you? Is that what we're talking about? Like throwing a fireball? Like where are you throwing the fireball?
So or it does give you an advantage. It makes your inputs, like you're pushing the buttons. You literally push one button and it sends out a whole ass max mode or something. It
a combo.
Yeah, it's so OP. It's literally, it's not worth like arguing over. Like dynamic controls is definitely.
I've been losing. Somebody's been using all these daggone auto inputs, so I can't even do anything because they're dominating the match with that crap. And I'm like playing it normally, and they didn't tell me they were using that to their advantage. That's a bunch of crap. Anyway.
Well, that's why it's not in the tournament. So,
all right.
But it's something, It's just we're trying to make things as fair as possible, the same way that we've been doing things with the arcade cabinets. Because if you look at the cabinets and the machine, it like the settings are already built in. There's no advantage unless if someone else knows anything about it. There shouldn't be an advantage. Now, because Street Fighter 6 is a modern game, literally anyone can get into the settings and do something or whatever. And the fact that dynamic mode is like easy to get access to, we're just preventing risks. So,
okay. How's your quest to become a professional wrestler? Is that still a thing or what?
Well, I'm not gonna talk about it much, but it's coming. It's
progressing.
It is progressing. Now, I will say that I'm not allowed to discuss any details, like any further details of the
like you can't say which dojo you're training at.
Well, I mean, I could just say that I'm training in Chicago or in Berwyn right now. There's literally wrestling team that's training me right now. Huge shout outs to what's his name? Zilla what's his name?
Zilla.
Zilla Fatu. Huge shout outs to him.
Zilla Fatu.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He still wrestles here in Chicago. He's a world champion, and we've been wrestling on and off, and he's showed me a lot in the ring, and just having someone in the ring, especially from that's I don't think I have the qualifications to be in the bloodline. I think I'm just going to be worse than Sami Zayn.
El Generico, you're worse than El Generico?
I don't think I would make a great member in the bloodline. Or maybe we should call me JP Uso or some shit. I don't know.
Taking Bloody Wars to a whole new level, yeah?
Yeah, we are, Claudio, and we're just getting started. Season 3 is about to get big. Like, let me tell you, you guys are going to want to sign up, especially now that GGA Shady is putting some pressure under. It's going to be huge. Now, we just had yesterday, we had former Galloping Ghost Gamer of the Year, Chris Plackey, sign up not too long ago. He officially confirmed, and he's confirmed that he's going to be participating. So, I mean, we could see grand finals from that. So, we could be
Plackey versus Vale again, maybe.
A lot of people are saying that again. It could happen. Am I going to need another shirt for that? I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't print a shirt yet. The other. Oh no, I lost it again. Damn it.
What, the question?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I had it on my. Oh, that's right. You put in a score today.
I did. I upped my personal best, but I know I could do better. I've reached I did a double flawless victory and fatality on the hidden character Reptile. It was definitely an accomplishment, but I know I could do better. And just know, Placky, if you're on here, it doesn't take much to destroy your score. So next time, whenever I have the time, your score is coming down. Just saying. It's just a fact.
So you got about 1 million more points you gotta get. It looks like.
Well, just a million more points. It's a lot easier than you think. It's there's just got to be more and more time put in, especially if you're got to be thinking to yourself, what mistakes am I making? Because during my Mortal Kombat playthrough, there were a lot of mistakes that you could make from that game, whether it's I'm at a point right now where if I don't get any double flawlesses on any rounds that I face, it's detrimental. So every move that you make in that game is very important, depending on how many more cannonballs or how many more the spear guns you're gonna use in that game. It's all about how much more can you put in towards that game. That's where we're at right now.
And you're still using Kano.
I made a change in my character, so I'm no longer using Kano.
So what did you use last time around?
So today, not too long ago, earlier today, I was using a completely different character. I think this character is something huge. Literally, the special move that's on this character is worth 10,000 points instead of 5. So that's very huge. And Placky, if you're listening, just know I'm doing my research, man. So it's not gonna take much for me to take it.
I can't, so I'm not gonna find out what you're playing as because you want to get the score before he does.
He's
You
gonna
don't
have
want
to.
to. He's
He's
got
gonna
to
have to
figure
hit
out
the
which one
books.
it is.
He's gonna have to
gotta
hit the books to find out.
Okay.
So,
Anything else you want to mention?
I think. I mean, as far as Street Fighter 6 goes, to everyone that's watching the stream right now, I hope you guys consider going because it's a tournament that a lot of you cannot miss, especially now that we're in a new era in Bloody Wars. It's only gonna get better every single time. So to get a sneak peek at what you're gonna be looking at for season 3, Street Fighter 6 this Sunday would be the best shot for you. Um, the community is stronger. We're evolving. There's something that I'm planning right now that's gonna make Bloody Wars even better. Um, there's gonna be something that I'm gonna be fighting for, and whenever that time comes, we're gonna fight and we're gonna make sure that every single competition that we have for Bloody Wars is gonna be 10 times better than the last. And you're hearing this from me because we're here to make things special, and we're gonna be fighting every day for it. So
I'm holding this. I did record a promo yesterday, but
oh,
I
you did?
chose. But I chose. I would have played it during this podcast, but that was before I was having all the problems with my hand.
I see.
My hand did not get any better overnight, so we'll see how it goes tonight. But if it ain't any better, there ain't no way. It's not gonna happen this week.
I just hope it. I mean, you probably should take some antibiotics or something. That usually
It's
helps.
not antibiotics.
Oh
There's
no,
no
but I'm saying,
bacteria.
well, no, or I mean ibuprofen, like painkillers. That usually
Well,
helps.
I could take it. I could take an ibuprofen. I don't think it's gonna. I'll do it, but I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna fix the problem.
Well, we do have sticks available for you to use. So
I know
uh,
the stick. I still have to grip something, and that's the problem. Gripping something. So we'll
for
see.
sure. I do want to announce this was during, like, behind the scenes of getting Street Fighter 6 ready. It was a very complicated task. One of the complicated one of the
Yeah.
most, yeah, I know. One of the most difficult tasks that we had to make sure was ready was getting the game to use direct capture. Now, we are using, I want to say 2, but I want to get 3 in there. But for now, we're going to be using 2 PlayStation 5 sections, and the hardest part of getting it ready is getting the direct capture ready for it, and getting the soundboard in check too. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it kind of falls you back, but we're not slowing down for anybody. So
1909 Ogden. Now, what's at that location? What business is that?
it's called the Venue. It's an area where you're able to rent out the building for an event. I remember JP Productions was using that building for a commercial quote not too long ago. That's been released. So props to all my staff for working hard towards that project.
3 blocks
And
from the arcade, right?
correct, which is one of the reasons why you should go, not only to participate in the tournament, but the arcade is like down the street too, so you're not missing anything.
Right. Okay. So I think that's it for now.
Cool.
want to thank you for joining me to fill in the last segment of the program, and I hope to see you around the arcade soon and beat you at NFL Blitz once again.
You're not gonna want to face me, Steven, next time, but I'll keep that in mind.
I won the last meeting, so beware.
All right, I'll be aware.
You challenge me, and you might lose.
All right, Steven, we'll be in touch.
All right, see ya. All right, that was JP Pitts. Now, to kind of wrap this up, last segment, or the last little bit of news, I'm going to get this back up on the screen. The presentation. Get this up. Oh, go back over here. There we go. I went through the high scores a little while ago, but the chase for tokens. Andrew Wasco is the new Professor Token Taker. He has surpassed Jimbo Slice James White as of last week in the number of earned tokens at Galaxies Arcade. This is pretty much an informal title, just like the Ghost Rider Championship for most high scores at the arcade, which Andrew took from Pete Hahn quite some time ago. I'm still trying to chase down one Jamie Tibbetts to take sole position of third place. And looking at the update here, well, the power rankings right now, yes, there's been a little bit of movement. Well, now this is interesting because earlier, Jim Patzer had was moved up to, no, I got this wrong. I'm sorry. John Lyming has moved up to 4th overall, just passing Mossies. Jim Patzer, I thought overtook Eric Pearl, but apparently not. I guess he's lost a bit of ground because now we got a bit of a tie. Oh, I see what happened. Scores entered, challenge cards, and a token got entered probably for a game that Eric Pearl had, and then he took the tiebreaker goes to the person who has the greater number of high scores. So Jim Patzer moves back into the top 10. And of course, I'm saying 11th place. I was 10th, but Andrew took back Castle Dragon. Oh well. As to who is the favorite for Gamer of the Year now that the first quarter is in the books, don't know. I don't think there's a front runner yet. But let's move on here. Arcade Wars. And, I thought one of Arcade down in Australia, so good grief. Anyone else winning is fake news. I don't know about that. Underground Retrocade, that 349,000 score, probably a dagger in anybody's hopes to take the game of the month. Surprisingly, Worthy, Gum and Ghost, and Underground's the only two that submitted scores. Obviously, I submitted my score, but I can't get 100,000 on this yet. I don't know. Anyway, and that's this Sunday, Street Fighter 6. Follow my Facebook page. I need 100 followers. Facebook.com/Crimeycade. Now, who is next week's guest? This is the last thing. My guest next week, and by the way, oh, grief. Yeah, I'm gonna campaign hard against this because, the year that he was teasing not giving out Game of the Year, that when I wrote him a letter saying, no, somebody earned Game of the Year. Well, yeah, I know, guys, I know. I sure wrote a letter, maybe again, but I kind of thought I had my ideas who was going to win Game of the Year, and it didn't turn out that way. He shocked everybody. Now, maybe I'll get Doc Mack on late December. I have some weeks to promote it. If I can get him on, I mean, we can all have that little debate on the podcast. But anyway, Mossy Segopian, next Wednesday, November the 20th. I had to move it to Wednesday because it was not available on Thursday. He's busy, but I want him on the podcast bad enough. So he was available on Wednesday. So you know what? Accommodating. I'm an accommodating individual. We're going to have Mossy Segopian, longtime Galloping Ghost gamer, multi-time 10X champion, but he's also the master of the Legend of Zelda games. So this is going to be interesting. And it's somebody that I kind of thought would have won Gamer of the Year by now. But that has eluded him. He doesn't think he'll ever win Gamer of the Year. But you know what? We'll have a conversation. We'll see if I can convince him to make a go for that title. I mean, he's got his challenge card as well, and he's made progress on it. But there's a couple of things that has been difficult to deal with on his card, and he doesn't think he's going to complete his card, but we'll see. And last week was Halloween. Oh well. I should have put Veterans Day up, but that was Monday. Anyway, that is going to do it for this edition of the Crimeycade podcast. Hope to see everybody next Wednesday here on the show. I am going to rate a channel. Gosh, I'm trying to put the end screen up, but I can't. So let's get rid of this doggone thing. Get rid of that. Anyway, I am going to rate the channel. Let's see who I'm going to raid. Oh, it would help if I get, let's see who I'm going to raid. Who am I going to raid? Who's streaming right now? Let's see, who's good? Well, let's see. Do I want to read a podcast or do I want to raid somebody's game? Oh, gosh, you know what? Mossy is the master of Zelda. Well, somebody's playing Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom right now. And I think that's been a recent release. So I'm going to raid the Brotherford channel. The Brotherford. I don't know how much longer he's going to stream, but that's who I'm going to raid. And until next time, I'm the Magazine of the Crybar. Thank you for tuning in to the Crimeycade, and have a good night, everybody.